Everybody, and welcome to yet another episode of the Change Collective. You've got me, Fresh by Friska, and I'm here with my good friend Matt of Lavo. And in today's episode, we're going to cover a question that was asked in the comments a few days ago, and that is, why do people and organizations find change so goddamn hard? Like, what is the driver for this? So, Matt, what do you think? Why is it so hard for everybody?
Well, it is hard. Let's all just give up. Well, I'm sure that's what a lot of people would like to do. Look, change is difficult. There is always a view that it's very messy when you start off, and it's a big old ugly mess. You know, how is this all going to come together, and what's it going to look like, and bringing everyone together. It's the list goes on, but it can be beautiful in the end once you get everyone aligned and on the same path. So I guess a number of points would bring about resistance for change. I always bring it back to, if you sort of connect it with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So, you know, we all have these physiological staples. We all have these safety staples, the need and the sense of belonging, self-awareness, self-esteem, self-actualization. These are all things, even in a business context, that need to be brought to life for individuals. So when managing resistance, what I always say is ensure that you've got very clear vision. What is it that you're looking to achieve? Don't be ethereal, or don't be very high level in terms of your vision and say, we're going to be a great whatever. That means nothing to nobody. You need to be very clear, and you need to be a lot more detailed in what that vision will look like. So very clear vision, strong advanced communications that has a cadence about it that ensures everyone is up to date all of the time. And visual leadership. Now I say visual leadership, and some people may say, well, there's poor leadership out there. My view on that is there is no poor leadership, because leadership has all of the attributes of what inspires people. If it's poor leadership, it's probably more managers, and that's the difference. So you need to have strong, visible leaders and leadership to be able to bring all of that together, to peel back that resistance, or get to the heart of, like as I mentioned, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So that's my three key tips in terms of managing that resistance. What about yourself, Rishka?
A point that I want to make is that the right resistance manager actually isn't a change manager. We can do the impact assessment, we can identify resistance hotspots, but it's up to the leaders of the business to manage that proactively. And I find where a lot of resistance never actually gets removed is because they delegate that to somebody else. It's not our job. We can help you, we can develop a strategy, but it's actually your job as leader to mitigate that, to reduce that. A second point I want to make is never underestimate the impact of PTSD. So if changes have been rolled out in the organization and they weren't managed very well, why in hell would people want to put their hand up for a second time round? Yeah. And the last point that I want to make is that not enough time and effort gets spent into really understanding the cause of the resistance. Often, people get labeled as resistant, but it's actually, they're not resistant to the change. They may be resistant to the project manager. They may be resistant to a particular key stakeholder. So it's not necessarily that. And you need to take the time to walk a mile in their shoes to really understand why the pushback. So those are my top three.
I love the first one that you mentioned, that the resistance managers aren't change managers. It's very important for people to know, we can talk about this in another episode. Change managers are almost like PR agents. We're here to give the right tools, the right coaching, the right ability, and enable the leaders to lead the change. So yeah, I love that.
And there you go. You've heard it straight from Matt and I on why people and organizations find change so hard. So till next time, tune in for another episode of The Change Collective.
See you next time.